This is a build update to my previous build for my Elemental Sundering and Volcanic Eruption Titan. So the basis of this build is we're building around Shankgonne's covered sabatons and its ability to always ignite on enemies. Right here it says always ignite. So we're using that to about as much as we can with two skills. One, we're using Elemental Sundering for clear. So Elemental Sundering consumes an ignite on an enemy. Because we can always ignite, and we have stuff like Magnified Area and Wildfire on our Black Powered Blitz, we just jump into a pack and then hit Elemental Sundering and it blows up the entire pack. And then because we also have Ignite, we can use stuff like Ancestral Cry and Rapid Assault with Volcanic Eruption. So this is going to be our single target. Here we have supported strikes erupt Volcanic Eruption on hitting ignited enemies. And Volcanic Eruption is Molten Strike from PoE 1, where it just spawns a bunch of projectiles that hit, and they do a percentage of the damage. Ancestral Cry also applies that for strikes, and they both stack, which is extremely useful. And Ancestral Cry builds power by igniting enemies. And because we're always going to be igniting, we have very consistent and very quick generation on this. It is extremely useful for bossing, and it bumps up the DPS a lot, whole ton. We also have a couple other key skills that we're using just for supporting stuff. We have Sniper's Mark just for a little extra damage. It's not really doing much, but it's here. We have Resonating Shield because we're using a shield. And this has increased armor break, heroic smelting, and rapid assault. And we're using this to break armor in order to, one, generate endurance charges, and two, as a useful like blocking utility. It's mostly used for the armor break and endurance charge generation. We have Infernal Cry just for some extra damage. It's got cooldown recovery rate, tireless, and efficiency. We have Spear Solaris in here. It surprisingly does quite a bit of damage if you do land on it. It's pretty good. We have Ancestral Cry here with prolonged duration, Immolate for the damage, close combat, and fire attunement. We're just scaling all damage on Ancestral Cry. We have Scavenge Plating here. Because we're breaking armor in an attempt to build endurance charge, we use Scavenge Plating in order to just buff up our armor. So we still get that despite us having Avatar of Fire. Because Resonating Shield has a flat amount of armor it breaks, even if you're not doing any physical damage. So it's extremely useful. And we have Vitality and Cannibalism here to just support like our life regen nodes, because degens are an issue for every single build. And then we have Magma Barrier here, just for 1, endurance charge generation, 2, increased block chance, and 3, just for utility, and it actually does kind of a bit of damage, especially with our gear. Then I've talked about our gems, and you've seen the gameplay. You know, you jump in, you explode, use the skill, you jump again. It's a very simple combat mechanic. I'm going to explain the passive tree. It's fairly basic. We grab a lot of decks on our pathing. We grab armor, block, damage as extra fire, area of effect nodes because we're a Titan. We grab hulking form. We grab block chance over here, life regen. I'll talk about some of this stuff over here. Armor applied to elemental, extra damage, armor applied to elemental. And that adds up a lot because currently we are at 20k, about 21k armor for physical, and effectively 30k for elemental, or 40k for fire right there. So we have quite a bit. We got a bunch of damage from this and the Titan, giving us more effect of those nodes. And then over here we have some interesting stuff. We grab movement speed here because, as plenty of people have noted on the internet, and despite the cries of its uselessness, if you just grab like 10% movement speed here, it feels fine. Especially if you're grabbing all this slow potency reduction here. So we have 12, 12, 5, and then we also have over here 6, 12, and 8%. And then we also have over here 7, along with the life regen nodes, and 30% reduced effective curses. This is to the point where, on average, if I get chilled, I'm only getting 5 to 7% chill. I am not getting slowed often. And I think I am often faster than most builds because I spec into this. I don't know, but I don't feel like my build's very slow. So I'm very happy with that. That about covers everything on the passive tree. We have a Heart of the Well over here for cooldown recovery rate, which I use to boost both the cooldown recovery rate of our eruptions and ancestral cry, but also stuff like rapid assaults, volcanic eruptions, because this has cooldown, and then it also boosts the cooldown of black powder blitz. So I have cooldown recovery right here, and my cooldown is about 1.85 seconds. In terms of gear, right now we have pretty good spear. If I wanted to upgrade this, it would cost a whole lot of divines, but the biggest hitting physical attack damage spear you can get, if you want to drop anything, you drop crit chance, you drop attack speed. You just want as much physical damage as you can, maybe some extra fire, and then levels of attack. And then I have onslaught here, which is pretty nice. On the armor, it's basically armor, res, chaos res, life, those kinds of basic stuff. You can see here I have armor applied to elemental basically everywhere I can. I replaced Redblade Banner with Chernobog's Pillar just for the extra damage, because we're not really scaling block as a primary defense. It's more of a secondary thing. So we're just using this for the extra damage because of the amount of fire damage we're doing. And it does help quite a bit. And then I have Temporal Mastery here for some extra cooldown recovery rate, because all that kind of cooldown recovery rate both helps our movement and it helps our damage, specifically for single target. I could potentially grab Iron Reflexes here just to get the last bit of evasion. That's right here. Fine, but I find it helps, and it also tricks some mechanics that like only pop up when you have evasion. In terms of our skill, our ascendancy, we have right here armor, life, and this. Fairly basic. There's argument for you to go like Warbringer in some cases, but you know, I'm here just to try stuff out. And that's my update. I've been doing T15s, I'm doing bosses. Really at this point, I'm like firmly in mid gear kind of level, like endgame. Like if I wanted to do anything more with this build, it would cost like so much to get like the gear and like damage required for that. But I've done basically all the content I've have. I've been farming T15s like crazy. So it's been going well. I'm enjoying the build. It's fun. So many explosions. Very fun. Thanks for listening. Bye.